Every day, aspiring musicians dream of getting out of their garages and taking their songs on the road for the world to hear. But not everyone's successful at making a living as a gigging musician. There's a right way and a wrong way to navigate the music business, and whether you're looking to book your first gig or plotting an extensive world tour, this show will help you demystify the live music industry by providing first-hand insights from artists and professionals who are doing it at the highest levels. Hey there, I'm Tony Neely, and this is the Book Your Band Podcast. Welcome to this episode of the Book Your Band Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony Neely. Today we have with us Will Johnston, who is a booking agent for Intrepid Artists. So Will, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
Absolutely. This show, our heart is to help demystify the live music process for emerging artists. So we live in an era where lots of people are putting their songs online. Maybe they're blowing up, going viral on TikTok, things of that sort. But they really don't understand how the live music industry itself works, who the players are, and really how to get out of their garage or out of their bedroom onto the stage. So that's where this show came from. And obviously, at the heart of understand booking, we need to know who booking agents are and what they do. So can you tell us a little bit about your role as a booking agent?
So my main role, my daily task, and what I have to do on a day in and day out basis is securing the artists, concerts, festivals, concert series, private events, anything dealing with negotiating the deal for a performance is what we have to handle. And there's a wide range of types of shows, concerts, festival series, anything like that. And that's the main goal of what we have to do on a daily basis.
So does Intrepid, do you specialize in a specific genre, or are you just kind of all over the map?
Intrepid, we're fairly niche as far as our history have gone. We are primarily in blues and blues rock, but we have a growing number of bands in the New Orleans, roots, funk, soul, rock and roll realm. Kind of anything adjacent to blues is where we have our fingers on.
Gotcha. So as a lot of artists are starting to look at booking local shows, because that's where most of us are starting. You're not going to go straight from your garage onto a nationwide tour. Explain to us a little bit about the difference between booking as an independent artist versus booking with a booking agency.
So the best part about booking with an agency would be that you have a team of people working for you as opposed to you just doing it yourself. In particular for Intrepid, we've been operating for almost 30 years. So we have existing relationships with concert series, with music venues, festivals. So we're able to use our relationship that we have to leverage getting a newer band onto a supporting slot or a festival billing or something like that.
Gotcha.
And as opposed to when you're independent, that's all you. You're doing it all on your own. You don't have a team backing you there.
And how have you guys worked to build those relationships with venues?
When Rick Booth started the company 30 years ago, he had been in the industry for a little while. And then from there, we've just developed a reputation of having high quality blues and blues rock bands that are in demand. So we're able to give them good bands that sell tickets and build from there.
How does Intrepid decide who you want to work with? Do you have specific metrics that you're using? Like, does somebody have to have X number of followers online, X number of streams? How do you decide? Because you have a pretty lengthy roster. How do you decide who you're going to work with?
There is really kind of like a million ways to answer this question. One of the first bands that I was able to sign to the roster, band Bywater Call out of Toronto, I was just listening to music on YouTube one day, and through my suggested reels or suggested videos, they came up. I listened to them, was like, oh, this is a really good band. And then I was like, looked into their website, saw that they didn't have US representation. So I shot them a message, was like, hey, can we schedule a phone call? Would like to discuss what you're doing for booking shows in the United States. And then the conversation get going, and we eventually signed them. But then there's other bands that they'll reach out to us. There's really no one way to say how they get on our radar. Sometimes we notice that they're doing well. Sometimes they get recommended to us by another person in the industry. There's a lot of different ways to get it done. And we also just have a submissions tab on our website. So if you want to go to intrepidartists.com, fill out the submission form, that'll get sent to our office manager and distributed to all the agents in the office.
Cool. So somebody goes through, they fill out your submission form. What are you
Mhm.
looking for in an artist? Is it purely gut, or again, are there certain metrics that you're looking for?
Having shows listed on your tour schedule definitely is going to help, but it's not an end all be all. Sometimes we'll see a band, we'll notice that they have a great record, they have a look, they have the content, but they maybe just haven't been able to put all this stuff together to get the shows rolling. So then that's when we see that there's some good bones there. We can
Mm,
pick that up and start rolling with it.
gotcha. So somebody goes to fill out the submission for you. What are some do's and don'ts? Like what are things that you see automatically you're like, "Nope, this is not somebody that we want to work with," versus things that people would fill out in the forum that's going to catch your attention?
Well, basic etiquette and like being able to write an email and present yourself in a business professional setting. It's an industry all about perception. And if you write a really awful pitch and just say, "Hey, I play guitar or book my bands, I think you could help me," like that's not going to get you anywhere. But
Mm,
if you're able to show, "Hey, I've done this, all of this on my own. I've booked these shows within my home market. I've supported this nationally touring act. I have these singles ready to be released. I have this record label just signed me." The more things that you've done on your own that show that there's something there that we could add to, as opposed to you just expecting us to do all of it, that is going to get our attention the most because
mm,
there's tons of great bands in the world. There's more great bands than any of us know what to do with. But
absolutely.
it's still a business. It's still an entity that has to have business smarts behind it for it to ever go anywhere. Because we're not miracle makers, we're booking agents. But the more tools they have already that we can work with is the better long term goal.
So when people are making cold submissions to you, are they normally just a cold email? Are they sending you EPKs? What's that normally look like?
There's a range of it. Some do have full EPKs, complete with touring history and things like that. And then others, some artists just don't have that stuff yet. Some are just sending links to their YouTube. And it's not that, and I wouldn't be discouraged from having, if we only had one or the other. But having an EPK is definitely good to have a single click source that we can go and see everything about your band is definitely good for presentation.
I get a lot of questions sent to me about EPKs. Obviously, nowadays, there's a range of formats. There's the
Hmm.
single sheeters where they just send you like a one sheet clickable PDF. There's the website format. Then there's using things like Bandzoogle, Sonic Bid, something like that. What are
Hmm.
you seeing mostly sent into your office nowadays?
Probably more of just having a really detailed website because most people are just working from their phones. They go to their Gmail, click it, and if they can just go to their website and see everything there is to see on a well done website, then that kind of has everything you need. You have your touring tab, your history tab, your live videos, things like that. Like if you have a perfectly developed website, you don't really need much else.
Is there anything that you've seen people sending in to you on their EPKs that's just completely a waste of time, unnecessary to send in?
Not that I can really think of. You want to cover. Definitely, you have a bio, have a story behind your band, make sure it's adequate, depicting what type of music you have, your history, and having it be accessible to get to your Spotify, get to your YouTube as easy as possible. We don't want to make myself or a talent buyer like have to search for that information.
Yeah, I always tell people if the venue or the talent buyer has to do the work to figure out who you are, they're not going to book you.
Right.
So,
And
a
you
lot
also
of
don't want to just word vomit either. You don't
yeah,
want to just and have all just a big wall of text. Like I always try and when I send out my pitch email, I always try and keep it pretty compact because you want to catch talent buyer's eye as quickly as possible with as little fluff because if they get bored with the pitch, then they're just going to go on to the next person. You want to
mm.
have it all concise right there and easy to access.
We've been talking about what artists send to you. My next
Mhm.
question is what should artists themselves be looking for in booking agents? Like what are the qualities and characteristics of a solid person to work with versus what are some maybe red flags that they should be avoiding?
I would say the first thing, if an agent reaches out to you, says, "Hey, Tony, I want to represent your band," I would go and look at their roster of bands first to see if I'm a stylistic fit. A lot of agencies, they're not like Intrepid that have kind of niche, but a lot of them are. But if I'm a metal band and an agent that books a bunch of DJs reaches out to me, I'm going to question, am I a fit with this guy? Does this
Mm,
guy have the contacts that I'm going to need for my career? Because if he doesn't have the people to call, then there's no reason why you should be paying him 10% because he doesn't have, or she doesn't have the history with the genre, with the talent buyers that you need to be with. Another thing I would look at if somebody reached out to me is I would go and look at the bands on their roster and see if they're working. If you go and look at the majority of our artists are working constantly. We've got guys that are working 28 out of 30 days in a row. Our artists want to work and we work them hard because we're here for the same goals.
mm.
If you go and you look at this talent buyers or this agent's roster of bands and none of them are working, why is it going to be any different for you? Like if they aren't working, why would it change just because of you?
Mm.
If they show that they have bands steadily on the road or steadily doing festivals, then good, because that shows that they have the connections to put their money where their mouth is.
Got you. So genre fit and making sure that the bands that they already have on their roster are actively touring or two of the
Yeah.
things to look for.
At least that, because you want to make sure that you're going to a place that is working their artists. You don't want to just be sitting on their hands, wanting the work to come to them. They're going out, bringing the work to you.
Hmm. So a few of my previous guests, especially I had Michaela D. Jordan, who's the founder of Golden Poppy Music out in Los Angeles. Their whole conversation with me was on predatory practices, primarily within the management space. And they were
Hmm.
able to get some really good insights for artists. Hey, if you see or hear a manager saying this or doing this, that's a sign that's probably a predatory practice that they're
Hmm.
basically out to use you as a way of filling their own pockets without delivering. Are there any predatory practices within the booking agency world that artists should be aware of?
I would say something to worry about is if, let's say, you have a meeting with your agent and you say, "Hey, I want to do this, this, and this," and 2 weeks later you give them a call and it's kind of lip service, then that's showing that you're not a priority to them.
Mm.
This is a job of phone calls and emails. Things generally happen pretty quickly. If you're making all these plans and continually nothing is happening, then that's definitely a red flag that something's not working right. That could mean two things. It could mean A, the agent's not working for you, or B, they don't have the tools needed to do their job for you.
So we decide we want to work together.
Mhm.
Intrepid likes my band likes Intrepid. I know it's going to start with signing some kind of agreement, some kind of contract. Can you walk us through what that partnership is going to look like from the time we shake hands and say we want to work together through actually getting on the road?
So this might be a little mind blowing, but at Intrepid, we do things a little bit differently. We're only on a handshake deal. You say you want to work with us, we'll look you in the eye, shake your hand, and say that we're going to do it. And the reason that we've developed that is because, let's say it's a year long contract, and at month 9, it's time for the band to start thinking about, are we going to re-sign this with this? So it kind of puts some questions in their mind. And then on the other side, we might know in 9 months that we don't want to work with this band anymore. So
Mm.
we have it on a handshake deal, so it work at will, basically, so that each side can part at any point in time. Because if it's a toxic relationship, it's not going to work for either side. If we're not working for you, or if what we're doing isn't working for you, then it's only going to hurt your career if you stay with us. And if we're trying to work with you and we're just spinning our wheels, wasting our time, then we don't want to do it either. So we keep the handshake deals, and it's worked pretty well for us.
Is there generally some kind of unwritten expectation of exclusivity that they're only going to be working with you and
Yes.
your organization
Yes.
during that time?
Yes. Yes. Well, and some of it is we're the exclusive US agent. Some of it is we have US and Europe. It's not really black and white. It's kind of approached differently per every artist with what they had, what type of team they had when they came to us. Some
Mm.
of them, they'll have a great thing going in Europe, so they don't want to mess with their European representation. but they need or don't have new US representation. So
Mm.
we'll take over the US representation and just say we handle the US, they handle Europe, and go from there.
So, what does payment structure normally look like? Because, as you said, it is still a business. It's music, it's entertainment.
Mhm.
It is still a business. So, how are you guys getting paid?
Generally, we take 10% of the gross deal. So if it's a $5,000 deal, they get $1,000 in points. $6,000, we'll get $600 out of that. Generally, some artists, we have a threshold, like it's 10% up to $3,500, and after $3,500, we get 15. Or European, we get 15. There's a little bit of a give and take there.
Is that going to be structured out through the venues? Is that going your payouts coming through the band's accountants? How is that transaction
That's
occurring?
so generally, we have like an account running with the band, so we'll collect their deposits and whatnot,
Mm.
and distribute the funds at the end of the month.
I know more and more managers, and especially more and more venues, have been taking cuts off of the band's merch. Is
hmm
is that something that you see happening on the agency side of them taking
We would
cuts?
never touch a band's merch. Never, never. Well, we wouldn't. So they might use their merch money to pay us if they owe us some money for whatever reason, but we don't take any charge of merch.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's great. I know especially there's been a lot of controversy with venues taking more and more
hmm
of a cut, especially since merch is normally a touring band's life's blood.
Oh, definitely. I see both sides of it. If they're providing employees to sell your merch for you during your show that you don't have, then those employees need to be paid.
Mm,
I know there's some talent buyers in North and South Carolina that have kind of developed a method that they're applying to their merch is if the show doesn't cover, then I'm charging your merch fee. But if you
mm,
cover, then that money's all yours because they're putting at risk too. And
gotcha.
it's a two-way street. Charging 25% for merch, that's kind of highway robbery.
Yeah.
But it's an industry of margins and the venues do put up a lot of money. But there's also the same breath that it's not their merch. So they shouldn't get any of it. It's kind of a contentious topic and there's a lot of different
Mm.
ways to look at it.
Yeah, it's definitely one that other folks that I've spoken with tend to get heated when it comes up. So I
hmm
appreciate your insights on that. So you said you're primarily working
Yeah,
off
but
of handshake.
we wouldn't take it.
You said you're primarily working off of handshake deals with folks, and you
hmm
said 9 to 12 months down the road, we may decide that we're not the right fit. I would imagine for the artist, that's going to be not getting the quantity or quality of shows that they're hoping to book or not getting festival stuff. What would it be on your end that you're seeing from artists where you'd say, you know what, this is not a relationship that we want to continue?
Some artists are really, really, really hard to work with. That's kind of one of the leading ones. Sometimes they might have a change of direction stylistically. They might release an album and we're like, this is crap. We can't sell this. Sometimes we might realize that this band is consistently trending down, whether it doesn't matter the festivals or concert series we get. We're now risking our reputation when we push for a guarantee at a club and they only sell a couple tickets.
Mm,
So there's a lot of different reasons to why like the relationship would just see itself out. Sometimes an artist is like, yeah, my new album's it'll be ready next month. And then next month comes and like, oh yeah, I had a delay. So I'm gonna have to wait until next month. And if we continually don't have the tools we need to do our job, then they're gonna keep wanting us to get them dates, but we can't get them for them because they haven't done what they need to get us what we need to do our job.
gotcha. So when it comes to looking at the booking side,
Mhm.
how much say does the artist have in where and when they're being booked versus how much of it is you as the booking agency deciding this is going to be your route, these are going to be your festivals, or is there some kind of cohesive partnership in booking out those shows?
Definitely a cohesive partnership. We definitely never try to send an artist to a place where it's not going to benefit them.
Mm,
But for some things, like if we get a festival in Atlanta and you're in California, there's going to have to be some negotiation of how we route that and everything like that. And more often than not, we work together to generate a game plan of what the quarter or the year is going to look like. And we go from there and we bring the offers to them and present them in the best way possible and they get the final say.
I hope you're loving this episode of the Book Your Band podcast and gaining some really helpful tips to get you out of your garage and onto the stage. If you want more helpful info directly to your inbox, sign up for our mailing list at bookyourbandpodcast.com. You'll be the first to know about upcoming episodes, new blog posts, and a lot more. Thanks so much, and now back to the show. You mentioned festivals. Obviously, that is the big thing everybody wants to know is how to get on these festival billings. Not even Bonnaroo, Coachella, not even just the big boys, but even regional
Mhm.
festivals. Why is it so hard for independent bands to get booked on a festival stage?
So, and it's kind of something that I run into myself as like a mid-sized agency. Festival, it's a busy job. If you're a talent buyer, you have an onslaught of people trying to play your festival. Tons, like everybody wants to play your festival. You got a great festival. So they're getting tons and tons and tons of submissions from just one person, you, Mr. Independent
Mm,
musician. It takes a lot more time to fill up your 50 slot festival if you're filling them up one slot at a time.
mm,
If you have an agent that has a roster of 47 bands and 15 of them fit perfectly for your festival, it's a lot easier to work with one person for 15 bands and for work for 15 people for 15 bands. When you have more weight to throw, it's a lot easier to get recognized as opposed to just doing it as one individual band.
So for you, Intrepid, when you're looking at booking these festivals, is your approach to reach out to them as here's a collection of 15 artists at a time? Are you pitching single folks from your roster that's going to be in the region at the time? How are you guys normally approaching those pitches to talent buyers?
Definitely a little of both. Some of my bands will work for a bunch of festivals, so I'll just send out. I know that Robert John and the Wreck, they're willing to hit
Mm,
festivals really, really hard. So I'll send out some very specific festival, like just curated
mm,
just for them. And then other times there's a festival that like there is the Spring of Blues Festival in Jacksonville. We got a great relationship with them. So I will just send over a longer list
mm,
of ones that haven't played with them in a couple years or haven't played with them at all. So there's really no one way to approach that.
got you. So, as a single independent artist that's trying to reach out, is there anything that an artist to help themselves stand out in a pitch?
Being consistent and persistent about is one thing, not just sending an email and then letting it float off the ether. Send an email, follow up next week. Hey, do this email. Think I'd be a perfect match for your event. Fall and then, wait a little bit of time. And then, if that doesn't work, then, make sure if you have a show coming up in the area where that festival is going to be, hey, I'd love to invite you out to this show so you can see me play, get familiar with what I'm doing. Or, hey, I'm opening up for this band next
Mm,
week. I would love for you to come out and see what I'm doing. I'll put you on this. Things like that to just make sure that they know who you are and know that you're working and know that you're putting grind to get recognized. I love festivals. They pay the bills.
everybody loves festivals. So, I know a lot of festivals, especially when you get into the larger ones, but even some of the regional ones, they don't take cold submissions. You have to go through an agency to even submit. But for the ones who will take cold submissions, a lot of time figuring out who the talent
Yeah,
buyer is like trying to find
yeah.
a needle in a haystack. They have it so buried. So do you have any tips on how to figure out who talent buyers are for some of these smaller regional festivals?
Um, a lot of times you'll realize that these festivals are put on by the city. So if you contact the city, you can feel away who their contact within the organization is. That I use on a daily basis is a Polestar Pro account. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much it costs, but it's an annual subscription, and you can type in basically whatever festival or music venue that you want, and their contact information is going to be on there.
Super
Sometimes it's
helpful.
current info, sometimes it's not, but a lot of times it gives you the tools you need to figure out the job. So one thing I had some kind of odd sales jobs and, learned some techniques about how to find out, like climbing the ladder of who you need to talk to. Like if you
Mm,
figure out the email portion, like how somebody's email is written, you can figure out everybody in the industries in the company's email. Like if it's like
mm,
first initial, last name at fest.com and you know the talent buyer's name, then you know his email. It's like you dig for that information to figure out how their emails are written, and you figure out their name, then you know that guy's email address.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
It's a really solid tip. Speaking of tips, two back-to-back questions. The first one, since primarily most of the people that listen to our show are independent artists who are trying to work up to the level of working with an agency like you, when it comes to reaching out to venues, reaching out to talent buyers as an indie musician, what are some do's and don'ts that independent artists should consider? What would be good etiquette for reaching out to some of these venues as an indie artist?
You have to find the line between persistence and annoying and figure out how to straddle that. And you have to be pushy, but you can't be annoying. Make sure they know who you are, make sure they know that you're working. And like I said, with the festivals, prove that it's good, because a lot of times I'll invite talent buyers to see my band that I know is going to see them, because this artist might not be a huge ticket seller yet, but they get to see them in this environment, see that this band is good, but they need help getting to the next step. And if they're, that you see them live, that is the selling point of music, is seeing them live. Like, you can listen to the album all you want. Festivals and talent buyers, they're selling a live show, so if you get them a room to see that you are a good band and you can in fact command a crowd, then that is going to help out a lot. And you don't want to be annoying. That's not going to get you anywhere. There's some artists who, I think they have it set up on a schedule so that every 10 days they email me asking me if it's time to be added to my roster. And I'm like, you're a really annoying kid. Like, this isn't how it's
And
gonna.
blocked.
Yeah, and blocked. Yeah.
I'm 38 now. I played my first paying gig as a hired bass player when I was 12.
Right.
Came up through teenage years having to go in the back doors of venues because I wasn't old enough to get
Right.
in the front door. But I remember back then, like, the norm was, especially with local regional venues, you call and ask who the talent buyer was, or you'd even show up with a manila envelope before EPKs and you're like, here's my press kit.
With your
Is it
headshots.
best to pretty much, yeah, with your headshots and burn CDs and all that. Is it best now to keep things to the informal email, or is there still some merit in calling or walking into asking to talk to the talent buyer?
I would say that most talent buyers aren't necessarily in-house.
Mhm,
They're not going to be at every single show, but I'd say that in-person meetings are always going to go a long way. Looking somebody in the eye and shaking their hand and saying, "Hey, I would love to play some gigs with you. When can I get on opening slot?"
mm.
That is always to do well. And giving them something, whether it be merch or whatever, to make sure they remember you is, that's never going to hurt.
You mentioned opening slots there. This is something I feel like I can talk to 50 different people in the industry and I'll get 50 different answers. But say you are a local band, you have some mid-cap rooms, maybe 350 to 500, and there is an artist coming through, you wanna get on stage opening for them.
Hmm.
Is it best to talk to the talent buyer, to reach out to the booking agents, to reach out to managers? Because it happens, but a lot of people, it's still kind of this great mystery, especially if you don't have social capital with the band already. So
I would
if
say
somebody
that
wants to shoot their shot too.
I would say to shoot your shot and attack it from all angles. If figure out who the talent
Mm,
buyer is, reach out to the talent buyer. Figure out who the band manager is, reach out to the band manager. Figure out who the band agent is, the band's agent. If you know somebody in the band, reach out to the band. Exploit every
mm.
contact that you can find to be pushy and make sure that they see you there.
Got you. So a lot of those, are they gonna be pay to play normally, or are they just free for exposure plus merch? How does a lot of those bookings normally work?
I've never done any pay for play type things. Those definitely do exist, but generally there's a support budget of like 250 to 500, just depending on,
Mm,
the band and the market, and there's, just depends. But generally it's like
okay.
250, $500. Sometimes if it's a national act or hometown where you do have a following, you can get a little bit more. Um,
Mm.
but generally, 250, 5. I do know there are some festivals that'll, like, slot at noon and give you 15 tickets you can sell. you know, things like that. But generally, I can't commission free, so I don't. We don't do many of those here.
Yeah, that's that's definitely understandable. What are there any other tips that you would have for artists, either emerging artists or artists who are ready to start looking for a booking agent? Maybe anything that we haven't covered that you think would be really valuable for somebody to consider?
It's the intersection of perseverance and luck. So just you got to keep up the grind. Like always keep. And I think about this for myself as an agent, just continue to get better to make sure that people know who you are, know what you're doing, know what you're about, and know why you're worthwhile. You know, continue to strive to get better at playing your instrument or whatever it is that you do within the industry. You just got to keep working at it. And it's a business of who you know. So continue to go to the show and talk to that talent buyer, or go to the show and, you know, meet that manager who's on road with the band that you think you could support, and meet that person and continue to build connections with people in the industry, because the more connections you have, the more likely that one is going to, you know, be that break for you.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. I know that my audience will love the insights that you have. Where can we find you online? Do you have any big events coming up that you want to share with our audience?
So you can get every you'd like to know about Intrepid Artists from our website, intrepidartists.com. Facebook is at Intrepid Artist, Instagram. And one cool thing that we do have coming up, Intrepid will be celebrating our 30th anniversary in November. We have like a 3-night city fest type deal. One night at Middle Sea Jazz Lounge, another night at Amos's South End, and the third night at the Neighborhood Theater. And each night's gonna have a curated lineup of our roster with some special collaborations and things like that.
And that's all in Charlotte, North
Yeah,
Carolina,
yeah,
correct?
that'll be Charlotte, North Carolina, November 8, 9, and 10.
Awesome. We'll be sure to get that information in our show notes, get it up on our website. Will, thanks so much for taking the time, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Look forward to the next time. See you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Book Your Band podcast. If you enjoyed the show, I would sincerely appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and share the show with some of your friends. To stay informed on upcoming episodes, be sure to sign up for the Book Your Band mailing list, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. All those links are available at www.bookyourbandpodcast.com.